Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today I will discuss about the first law for a closed system undergoing a change of state. In the last lecture I discussed about the first law equation for a closed system undergoing a cyclic process or a cycle, that is sigma w cycle is equal to sigma q cycle, or net work transfer for a cycle is equal to net heat transfer for cycle. And I also derived that relationship from the energy balance equation. That energy balance equation is the energy balance equation for any process undergone by a closed system is E in minus E out equal to delta E of system. Delta E is equal to E2 minus E1. E2 here means energy of the system at final state minus energy of the system at initial state. E in represents the total summation of energy that enters into the system. That means energy interactions. Those energy interactions take place across the system boundary, and E out is the summation of all the energies that leave the system across the system boundary. These two are energy interactions, and the net energy that gets stored in the system results in an increase in the stored energy, which is nothing but the energy that is stored in the system can be it is a property, and it can be proved also. Later on in this class I will prove that energy is a thermodynamic property of system. This energy is summation of this E is a property of system, and E is a summation of Ek plus Ep plus U. Difference between this E and this E is that this energy entering is energy interactions that may be either heat or work, no other form of energy. Those are boundary phenomena. These energy interactions take place across the system boundary, and this is also either heat or work. And by convention, when heat enters the system, it is taken to be positive, and when heat leaves the system, it is taken to be negative. And when work is transferred from the system, it is taken to be positive, and when work is transferred to the system, it is taken to be negative. But this E2 minus E1 is the change in energy of the system, and delta E will become delta Ek plus delta Ep plus delta U. These two are these two are macroscopic forms of energy, and this is the microscopic mode of energy. That means energy contained in the molecular structure of the system. And for a stationary system, what happens? These two terms can be considered to be zero. So for stationary system, this is the case. Change in energy is only change in the molecular internal energy. This is called U is called internal energy or molecular internal energy. So this is the equation, governing equation is this. This equation is everywhere used. That energy balance signifies that every bit of energy is accounted for in any kind of process undergone by a system. You can't neglect any bit of energy. So every bit of energy has to be accounted for. Whatever energy enters and whatever energy leaves the system, and the difference, that means that the net energy is stored in the system, which results in an increase in the energy of the system. Whenever energy is stored means it increases the energy of the system. So, and suppose this is a closed system. this is a closed system, and this is the boundary, and this is surrounding. You see, suppose there is a temperature difference between the system and surrounding, and surrounding is at a higher temperature, then heat transfer that takes place from the surrounding to the system is suppose Q. And out of that Q, some energy is spent in doing, then once the heat is supplied to the system and the system does some work, suppose W. That means the system does work upon the surroundings, and net energy that is stored in the system is that results in increase in internal energy. So if you put this equation, this governing equation, E in minus E out is equal to delta E of the system, the equation will be like this. Here E in energy entering into the system is the only heat interaction that takes place. Of course, the wall has to be adiabatic, otherwise no heat flow can take place between the system and surroundings. So there are two conditions required for any kind of heat flow to take place between the system and surroundings. First condition is there must be a temperature difference, and second condition is that the wall must be permeable to heat, or the wall must not be adiabatic. That wall must be diathermic or conducting. So here E in is Q and E out is W. Since W is transferred from the system to the surrounding, means this is the energy leaving the system and this is the energy entering the system. So Q minus W results in the increase in internal energy, and for a stationary system this becomes delta U only, because since we here proved that delta E is equal to delta U in case of a stationary system. In case of a stationary system, the system does not move, so there is no change in kinetic energy, and neither any kind of change in elevation takes place also. So that's why these two delta terms will be 0. So that's why we can write this equation, and this equation is most important equation used for any kind of process undergone by a closed system, where heat Q is the heat transferred to the system and W is the work done by the system. That if Q is higher than W, then delta U will be positive, because the more heat supplied, the fraction of heat is liberated in the form of work transfer from the system, and the rest is stored in the system. That results in an increase in molecular internal energy, of course, in case of a stationary system. Otherwise, it would have been delta E for any other system. So that is the equation. If in a problem, suppose heat is rejected from the system, we have to apply this, we have to assign a negative value to it when heat is removed from the system. So accordingly we have to, and the same rule also applies for W also. But this is the governing equation of first law equation for a closed system undergoing any kind of process. Similar to this relation is used, sigma W cycle is equal to sigma Q cycle. This is applicable for cycle, and this is applicable for any kind of process. Now, how to prove that energy is a property of system? Energy is a property of system. Energy a property of system. Another important thing about this first law is that not only it reasserts the principle of conservation of energy, that is, the energy is neither created nor can it be destroyed, but it gets converted from one form to another. Apart from this also defines the energy of a system. First law, the beauty of the first law lies in the fact that it defines the energy as a property of system, but it does not calculate the absolute value of energy. It is interested in finding out the change in that value of energy, delta U or delta E. So that change in energy it calculates. It helps in calculating delta E, change in the absolute value of energy, not in finding out the absolute values of energy of a particular system at a given state. So this calculates delta E, not E. Of course, if we, at a reference state, if we assign an arbitrary value, then we can calculate the value of energy at any other state given the value of change in energy, that is delta E. So now we have to prove that energy is a property of system. With the help of the equation that we derived, the general equation for first law, in case of a closed system undergoing any kind of process, that is Q is equal to delta E plus W, where Q is the heat added to the system and W is the work done by the system, and delta E is the increase in energy or change in energy of the system. Suppose this is PV diagram. This is state 1, this is state 2. This is the path A, this is the path B. You see the system, this is the pressure, this is the volume diagram. The system travels from state 1 to state 2 through path A or process A, and then it travels back to state 1 through path B. Then A and B together constitute a cycle. So how can we prove that energy is a property of system? By using that equation. Suppose for when the system travels from state 1 to state 2, what is the equation for that? First law equation, QA is equal to delta E plus WA. Delta EA will take, every term will signify. Suppose QA is the heat added to the system when the system travels from state 1 to state 2, and the WA is the work transfer from the system when the system travels from state 1 to state 2. That means when this process A takes place, these are the energy interactions. QA is the heat transfer to the system from the surroundings through system boundary, and WA is the work done by the system. This is a work interaction, this is a heat interaction. Then obviously delta EA will be the increase in energy of the system during that process, and suppose this is equation 1. But similarly for path B, for process B, we can write this equation plus WB. This is suppose equation 2. Now you see A and B together constitute a cycle, because here the system starts at state 1 and reverses back to state 1. So these two paths or two processes A and B together constitute a cycle. So for cycle, sigma W cycle or sigma Q cycle is equal to sigma W cycle. Then we can write down the equation QA is plus QB. Since for this whole cycle, what are the summation of heat interactions? QA plus QB equal to WA plus WB. Then I can rearrange these terms like this: QA minus WA is equal to WB minus QB is equal to minus QB minus WB. So or QA minus WA is delta EA is equal to minus delta EA is equal to minus QB minus WB is delta EB. Delta EB. So this becomes equation 3. Then this is the relationship between delta EA. Delta EA is the change in energy when the system travels from state 1 to state 2. And delta EB is the change in energy when the system change in energy of the thermodynamic system when the system travels from state 2 to state 1, that is E1 minus E2. So delta EA is equal to minus delta. Suppose we will forget about this path B or process B, we will add another path C, so that A and C could be a cycle. Forget about the B for the time being. So now A and C also constitute a cycle. Then accordingly we can also similarly we can prove that delta EA is equal to minus delta EC. By forgetting the process B and considering that A and C constitute a cycle, we can also prove that delta EA by applying writing in this same manner, we can prove that delta EA is equal to minus delta EC. You see, from equations 3 and 4, delta EA is equal to minus delta EB, delta EA is equal to minus delta EC. So which implies that delta EB is equal to delta EC. Delta EB is equal to, so delta EB is the change in internal energy when the system travels from state 2 to state 1 through path B, and delta EC is the change in energy. In fact, E represents energy and U represents internal energy, and delta EC is the change in energy when the system travels from state 2 to state 1 through path C. Both are same. That means this change in the energy is independent of path. It remains constant. Whatever path the system may follow, the change in absolute values of energy remains same. That means this is a point function. Energy is a point function. This is not a path function. Had it depended on path, just like your work, it would have been a path function. So energy is a property or point function. It's not a path function. Since suppose system travels from 1 to 2 through path A, then the change in volume is V2 minus V1. Whatever path the system may follow, the same change in volume will remain same. Suppose this is another path P. Here also through path P, the change in volume will remain same, that is V2 minus V1. Since volume is a property of system, volume is not a path function. Similarly, it is since delta EB is equal to delta EC, because both are connecting the state 2 and 1. For both the processes, initial state is 2 and final state is 1. So that's why delta EB is equal to delta EC. That means change in absolute values of energy remains same, whatever path the system may follow. So that means E is a property of system, and cyclic integral of any property is 0, since when the system comes back to initial state after a series of processes, the change in the value of that property is 0. So cyclic integral of any property is 0. Cyclic integral of dV is 0. Cyclic integral of dP is equal to 0 also. But cyclic integral of dQ is not equal to 0, and cyclic integral of dQ is equal to cyclic integral of dW, that is sigma W cycle is equal to sigma Q cycle. And this quotes and distinguishes the path function and or inexact differentials, but the dE is an exact differential or point function. So this is energy is a property of system that we could prove. So now a question is like this: a rigid tank contains a hot fluid that is cooled while being stirred by a paddle wheel. Initially, the internal energy of the fluid is 800 kilojoule. During this cooling process, the fluid loses 500 kilojoule of heat and the paddle wheel does 100 kilojoule of work on the fluid. Determine the final internal energy of the fluid. Neglect the energy stored in the paddle wheel. Suppose this is a rigid tank and it contains hot fluid. Obviously, since the fluid inside the tank is hot, so there must be some heat flow between the system and the surrounding, because once the temperature of the hot fluid is higher than the temperature of the surrounding, and the wall is not adiabatic, nowhere it is mentioned that this is an adiabatic wall, so heat flow can take place. So heat will obviously flow from hot fluid to hot fluid to the surrounding, which is at a lower temperature. And what is given is that there is some paddle wheel work. Since this is a rigid tank, there will be no boundary work involved. PdV integral of PdV will be 0. Since the rigid tank means volume is equal to constant, so there will not be any PdV work, or no boundary work would be there. Only work that is in the form of paddle wheel work. In fact, paddle wheel work is always a work input to the system. In case of a paddle wheel, the work is done on the system. That is a work input, and for calculation purpose, as a matter of convention, we will assign negative sign to it. When a paddle wheel work is given into the system, obviously it's this work transfer takes place, and this is a work input to the system. And whatever data are given is, this is initially the internal energy of the fluid is 800 kilojoule, and during this cooling process fluid loses 500 kilojoule of heat, and paddle wheel does 100 kilojoule of work. So what are the data given? Suppose this is paddle wheel work. W is equal to 5 paddle wheel does 100 kilojoule of work on the fluid. This W which enters into the system is 100 kilojoule, and initially the internal energy, here nothing is mentioned about total energy, only internal energy is taken into account. Suppose we know that internal energy is usually denoted by symbol capital U. The initial internal energy, suppose U1, is given to be 800 kilojoule, and during this cooling process, since it is a hot fluid, heat will flow from the fluid to the surrounding. Here outside this is surrounding, here this is surrounding. So heat is removed from the hot fluid to the surrounding. So this Q is given to be fluid loses 500 kilojoule of heat. Then we have to find out the final internal energy. This is a process takes place. This is a heat removal process, that is hot fluid gets cooled, and at the same time some work transfer is also takes place, and work is in fact input, or work is done on the system in this case. That means the energy entering is here work, and energy leaving the system is here heat. We can easily apply this equation, E in minus E out is equal to delta U. Since there is no mention of total energy, only internal energy is there, so delta EK and delta EP terms are absent here. So delta E is same as delta U. So this is delta U, or we can say U2 minus U1. You see here energy in is nothing but this work input, which is given to be 100 kilojoule, minus what is the energy out, that is the heat lost from the fluid to the surrounding, that is given to be 500 kilojoule is equal to U2 is the final internal energy, and initial internal energy is given, and just we are required to find out U2. We can find out like this is 100, this is minus 400 kilojoule is equal to U2 minus 800 kilojoule. So U2 will be minus 400 plus 800 kilojoule, that is 400 kilojoule. So initially internal energy was 800 kilojoule, and finally internal energy becomes 400 kilojoule. That means the energy of the system decreases. Since more energy is liberated and less energy enters the system. The energy that enters the system is less, that is 100 kilojoule energy enters the system in the form of paddle wheel work. Paddle wheel work is always work done on the system, because when the weight is lowered, it just rotates the paddle wheel, then work is done on the system. Because we know that work is said to be done by a system if it has the ability to raise a weight, but in this case the weight gets lowered, its potential energy decreases, and thus some work is given into the system. So that's why U2 final internal energy is 400 kilojoule. Initially it was 800 kilojoule. So there is a decrease of energy, because the more energy gets liberated and less energy is input, more energy is rejected and less energy is added during this heat liberation process. So that's why obviously the internal energy will go down, and the internal energy goes down means the temperature of hot fluid will go down. And this problem can also be solved by using this equation Q minus W is equal to delta U, just to what we derived also. Here Q is liberated, but initially in that equation we assume that Q is the heat added to the system and W is the heat liberated from the system. W is the work done by the system, Q is the heat added to the system. But in this case, heat is liberated from the system, and that amount of heat liberated is 500 kilojoule. Obviously here we will put negative sign. So minus 500 kilojoule minus W. In the initially this equation we had assume that W is the work done by the system, but in this case W is work done on the system, so we will put minus sign here. Opposite of the work done by the system, that is 100 kilojoule, is equal to delta U. That means minus 500 plus 100, that is minus 400 kilojoule. So delta U is equal to minus 400 kilojoule. That means U2 minus U1 is equal to minus 400 kilojoule. U2 will be U1 minus 400 kilojoule. U1 was initially 800 kilojoule. So 800 minus 400, that is 400 kilojoule. In this case also we found out 400 kilojoule, and by applying this equation also we can solve this problem. And another important thing is that this equation Q minus W is equal to delta U or delta E. In case of a stationary system, delta E is equal to delta U. U is the molecular internal energy or simply energy, and E is the energy of system. In differential form, we can write like this: dq minus dw is equal to du. Since this is a path function, inexact differential, so cot sign is there. This both for heat transfer and work transfer, a cot sign will be there. But this is exact differential du. And if you integrate this, sigma dq, cyclic integral of dq is equal to cyclic integral of du. And now cyclic integral of any property is 0. From this, what we obtained is, this is nothing but your first law equation for a closed system undergoing a cycle. That is, cyclic integral of dq is equal to cyclic integral of dw, or we can say sigma q cycle is equal to sigma w cycle. And this is the differential form, and this is the integral form of first law of thermodynamics for a closed system.